Hello. Today we're going to talk about modeling in Hawaii and what it's like to be a model living in Hawaii and based in Hawaii and working in Hawaii. And yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So I started modeling when I was 14. I was really young, but yeah, I definitely, that's just when I started. Nobody told me to do it. I wanted to be a model. So my first ever photo shoot was with an online magazine publication. I don't remember what it was called, but they were local and it was put on by a local wardrobe stylist. This magazine was organized by a local wardrobe stylist, and we shot at a karaoke lounge, and I would plug photos of all of these things. However, this particular photo shoot, I don't have any of the photos. And keep in mind, this was like over 10 years ago, so I don't know if it's just me, but like as a photographer, as a model, I've gone through a lot of photos. I've deleted a lot of photos. It's been a lot. It's been a long journey of photos. So I don't have these photos, but I will tell you the story. So I got casted for this photo shoot like through Instagram, and I think I had been posting like stuff on Instagram, like selfies and like outfit photos, just trying to put myself out there as like a young teenager trying to make it as a model. And you know, with social media, I knew right away, I was like, okay, this is gonna be like how I'm gonna do it, because I'm short. Like, I'm not necessarily 5'11" getting chased down by model agents at the mall. So anyways, so my first ever shoot was with a magazine, online magazine, which was really cool. And we shot at a karaoke lounge, and it was like very like moody, and just imagine like kind of what an outdated karaoke lounge, just kind of looking really like mysterious vibes is the best way I can describe it. Ugh, I'm just like the worst at describing this right now. But I was like 14. I got my hair and makeup done. Like, we had to like stop at 2 different salons to get hair and makeup done. I felt so freaking cool. And I was 14, and I like got pulled out of school to do this. So it was just like awesome. So yeah, I got my hair and makeup done, met the other models working, and it was like 2 or 3 other models that we were shooting with, and one of them I'm still connected with on Instagram. Maybe I can find the photos through her. But yeah, so I remember that my look was inspired by a famous femme fatale lady called Maria Luisa Casati, and I think she was like an heiress, like an Italian heiress. And I just remember they were like, your look is inspired by her. And not gonna lie, I low-key like I probably looked like a prostitute of the time, and I was like 14 wearing like long lashes and super heavy makeup, so it was a look, but it was a look. And that shoot had led me to do my first runway show when I was 14, at the time, the directors of New York Fashion Week were producing fashion shows here in Honolulu, and it was called Honolulu Fashion Week, obviously. And it was really cool, and that was my first like runway experience was doing like Fashion Week. So that shoot led me to doing that runway show because it was like the same person that organized the shoot was casting for the runway show. Amazing. So I learned quickly that I needed to use the internet to leverage my skills, and honestly, back in 2014, let's just say that the internet was a little scurry. It was a little scurry for a young teenage model, and I definitely had like my wits about me in terms of like internet safety. They taught us internet safety in school, right? So I knew what to look out for, but when I was 14, I was just looking online any ways, any tips, any way that I could get into this. I did a lot of research. I was a researcher at 14 years old, and I was going through other models' pages on social medias, websites, recommendations. Like, honestly, I think at some point I was in the yellow pages. I was looking through the freaking yellow pages for any way to like kind of get my foot in the door. So yeah, I think at the time, it was mostly like Facebook and Instagram that I was using to look for photographers and other sketchy modeling websites, like Model Mayhem, and which at the time was a little bit more refined, and you could actually find a lot of work through said platforms. There's been a lot of rapid technological change. I'm just side anecdote. There's been a lot of rapid technological change that I'm so grateful that like I kind of got on at the beginning of the wave to see how things move. And whilst I never like achieved massive amounts of following, luckily I know how to like use every like social media app thoroughly and how to navigate all these things, which are a skill these days. So anyways, I was really like trained on social media through the lens of like being a creator and being a model and collaborating. That's what I use social media as. So eventually, through posting selfies and like collaborating with local photographers and, you know, collaborating with friends in high school that wanted to be photographers, I got signed at 15 with a local fashion agency, redacted. I literally wrote that out, redacted. And that's how I met one of my now best friends, because we were on the same model board. Okay, and by the way, if you're like getting into modeling, don't be like me and delete your old modeling work because it's cringy. One of my girlfriends, like, we were sitting in a bar in New York and she was like, show me your old modeling photos. And I was like, I don't have them. And she was like, I'm so fucking disappointed in you. And she's like a little bit older than me, so I just thought, she was like, girl, we started modeling at the same age and I still have all my shit, so you have no fucking excuse, you dumb bitch. Anyways, don't be like me, don't delete your old work, because it's good to have. Like, you have to have your old work, and I don't. I have nothing to show for it. I also want to say, like, we had, like, it was really interesting getting into modeling here in Hawaii at the age of 14, because we had, like, serious, and I say had because the market looks it's very different now. As you can imagine, it's different everywhere, but Hawaii is no exception. So we had a Wilhelmina branch. We had a Wilhelmina, Hawaii office. And there were some like, I just got a casting, sorry. There were some like working models, and like not like, so to be a working model in Hawaii, like you were just working internationally, because it's always been a small market here and limited, where you can do like bridal work, the occasional runway work. Like nobody was is full-time modeling here. Maybe like before Facebook and Instagram, but definitely after that, none of that. So nobody, and obviously it's Hawaii, you know, it's not New York, it's not LA, it's not a big market, but there has been like decent amount of like catalog modeling, especially because of our proximity to Japan. So all of that to say, we and our proximity to Los Angeles is far, but not that far. So it was really like people would come here to shoot like their resort stuff, their tropical, whatever they needed. And, you know, for like the talent that was available here in Hawaii, the backdrops, the beaches, the this, like there were so many like reasons. And I see a little, I don't know if that's a moth or a lizard or a roach. And honestly, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Anyways, so yeah, there was a Wilhelmina, and they were signing girls with like huge agencies in like Japan. And to be like a working model back in 2014, you were either like, you were booking a lot of jobs here, yes, in Hawaii, you were probably young, but you were also like working internationally. Like you were likely signed like in Japan, in LA, in Hawaii, you know, because that was like, you had to go big or go home. When you're in a small market, like, and you want to expand beyond that, you have to go big, like, period. So that was just, I'm like painting the landscape of like modeling in 2014 in Hawaii. Of course, and you had like, okay, we had like a fashion week, which was pretty, like if you actually go on YouTube and look up videos of like Honolulu Fashion Week, there are videos, and it's like the production value was pretty good for its time. Of course, wouldn't be modeling if there weren't men that were really old in the modeling scene getting away with dating young, impressionable models because they were conventionally attractive males that did their skincare and wore sunscreen, so they looked like 20 at 30 and were in modeling. And it's just like, it's that classic, like, as men age, they get more valuable in the market. I'm not even gonna get fully into that, but yes, there was a lot of like, there wouldn't be a modeling market if there weren't old dudes modeling, preying on the young girls. It's like acting. Shout out Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyways, so the Hawaii market from 2014 to 2017, growing up, it was very like LA early influencer influence. So think like triangle bikinis was like, every girl had a triangle bikinis like brand deal here. Alexis Ren, Jay Alvarez, like those dudes were living on North Shore or something and like traveling to Bali, right? So there was that. There was a lot of that like Instagram, like if you can make it big on Instagram, you can make it. And a lot of girls were doing that, and a lot of 14-year-old girls were posting their bikini photos on Instagram. And this was like between, so when I started 2014 to like 2019-ish, and like luckily that's kind of stopped. Like obviously I'm not on the algorithms of like freaking high schoolers, but when I look at like the agencies here, it's not like a bunch of teenage girls in bikinis, or at least I hope not. No, they're not. Like, these are like women that actually I worked with when we were all 14, and now we've aged into our markets, thank God. But where am I going with that? Yeah, so we had it was like a very 2014 was like very LA influence. Like you better bet we were, can you hold me down for one night like I got 3 strikes? Like, that's fully the vibe it was giving back when I started modeling. I just don't know how else to paint a better picture. Friggin' Tumblr Girls by, God, what's his name? Jeezy? Is that the guy who made it? Anyways, so yeah, that was the vibes. And also at the time, like on the other side of that coin, like the girls who weren't really getting that, like, that influencer gotta be tan, posting up in bikinis, were kind of more like getting jobs from like the Asian market that would come here to Hawaii, because again, it was like a lot of like girls were getting signed with like Thailand agencies, and so like Bangkok specifically, and like Tokyo and Hong Kong. So, you know, that, and especially because there's a lot of Asian people here, and mixed Asian people here in Hawaii, the Asian market was like, Hawaii, what have you got to offer? So a lot of girls were getting signed into the Asian market, and there was a lot of just like random like Japanese brands, Chinese brands would like come here to shoot like their catalog stuff. And it was, yeah, what you can imagine, like straight size, like gotta be a 0, but you can be like 5'4", 5'3", and fit the sample size. So that worked out for people like me. And yeah, because I was never like really tan, as much as I tried, as much as I am very much have Hawaiian blood. I'm not, you know, I wasn't down with that kind of program, thank God. We are where we're at, you know. And honestly, I said this in another video, that was on some like the Files shit, like having these young girls being so influenced by like the Victoria's Secret era that they're like, yeah, like, well, you know, a close second is like modeling for Frankie's and Acacia and like all these like designer bikini brands that were also here and like hiring people here. Not even gonna get into that. So yeah, like we did also too, I don't remember what year this was, but we had like Jacquemus, is that how the fuck you say it? Jacquemus came out to Hawaii and did like an entire show. Vogue Runway covered it. Jenny was like watching, like it was, and it was a private show, so, but like Jenny was there. Amine, more celebrities that I don't care about, but Jenny was there. Jenny Kim was there. Watching a Jacquemus show in freaking Hawaii. Don't ask me why. It was honestly like really weird. And like also like if you know Hawaii, like it's a very spiritual place, and like that shit got rained on. It was raining. So I don't know how that ancestors felt about that one. I didn't do the cast. Listen, as much as I'm like talking shit, like the only reason I didn't do the casting and get booked and get Vogue runwayed that very year that Jacquemus came out and did a show on one of our beaches was because I was with a super insecure, I don't even want to call him a man. I don't even want to call him a human being, even though, like, technically, scientifically, that's what he was, because he was a monster. But I was with an entity at the time who kind of influenced me to believe that because I wasn't a nobody model, mind you, wasn't being directly asked by Jacquemus to walk in the show, the fact that I had to be asked by my friend who was a casting director, or like I got like a request, or like somebody sent it to me, my agent, I don't remember, but like I was like, oh, Jacquemus isn't asking me to walk in his show. They're just casting everybody then. So yeah, that's how I basically blew my chance of being Vogue runwayed in my own home. In my own home. It would have taken me freaking 45 minutes to go there and do the show. However, divine protection, divine alignment, everything happens for a reason, seriously. And I'm very grateful for everything that I've done too so far, thus far. You know, we are just getting started, baby. We are just getting started. I've been popping off, not gonna lie. So I'm always grateful for the opportunities that come my way, but I was like, damn, did I really just do that? I did. It's okay. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I want to talk all about this. Okay, yeah, so basically, if you weren't like poppin' on Instagram, I feel like when I got started, it was like, it felt very hard. Looking back, it was. I literally, like, and this, mind you, this had only ever happened to me like in Hawaii, where people told me directly that they're not gonna hire me because I don't have a lot of Instagram followers. Why would you tell me that? Like, why? Or like, put that as the, like, the casting requirement, like, must have X amount of followers. Like, I've seen that on a casting, but like being casted and then being like, wait, actually, we don't like how many followers you have, so we're gonna have to, no more job for you. That happened to me once. It was really weird, and I was like, I think I remember responding like, why would you tell me that? But I was like, why would you tell me that? For real. Weird. So slowly over time, catalog, magazine, physical, print, whatever, has transitioned over to like the online space, which is kind of when I started transitioning into modeling, like as a model. Because I started as a photographer. I've been shooting like influencers since I was like literally like 12. And yeah, I started modeling around the time where like globally, just like on a fashion scale, we started really transitioning to like online shopping. Yeah, basically, like, I was a very, like, pale, like, honestly, like, very Bjork looking, I still kind of look like, but I was, like, a pale Bjork looking ass kid with braces when I was trying to get into the modeling market. So I was not like tan or like the like early influencer like bikini market standard. And now the Hawaii market is just, it's mainly influencers. It's influencers and like influencers that do OnlyFans. There's no like really like super serious, consistent fashion work unless, again, you like as an individual, as a model, are like working in LA and New York or like Tokyo or like Hong Kong or wherever, right? I don't really see too many girls from Hawaii like going to Europe and doing like Paris and Milan and London. Like, I actually do see a lot of Hawaii girls going to London these days. So there is that. So yeah, and like then there's also like a lot of that weird scammy like model workshop, model school bullshit still happening here in Hawaii. But I say that as I'm not gonna, I keep on like saying things, like half saying them, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna say that, but some of these notes are kind of unhinged. Yeah, so basically like the way I built myself from Hawaii was through social media. And I kind of knew that that was like a non-negotiable. Even now to this day, like I test shoot as much as I can, and I try to like keep good relationships even in like this small town, because Hawaii has its like small town dynamics. And there are like a handful of like good modeling agencies here. However, the one that I opened in 2020 called Pride International Collective, it's a small like agency. We have a small roster, but mine is the best. Just putting that out there. So a lot of my work, I'm kind of grateful that I'm unable to find it anywhere, because my modeling career, despite, you know, not being super like enveloped in the bikini market as much as I was in the fashion market, I was still doing a lot of bikini work, and therefore my work was giving Brooke Shields. Yeah, it was giving Brooke Shields. So I'm grateful that a lot of it has disappeared into the ether of the internet, I guess. And I definitely still had options and choices, but I was also definitely groomed to believe that I needed to show skin as a minor. And obviously, and of course, like it was not by agents. Actually, funny enough, like none of my agents ever told me that, but it was other models and photographers and creatives that were like, you need to show skin or nothing is ever going to happen for you. Disturbing, might I add. So yeah, I definitely still had options and choices, but we've done a lot of healing since then. Okay, but there were a lot of like predatory voices that I've completely blocked out of my memory. And yeah, outside of that, I actually really started like working as a model when I started to show myself more respect and set boundaries. because it was like as soon as something wasn't for me, it was, oh, bye. Seriously. And I ended up working, like some of like my work highlights were definitely like always fully clothed. But there was one time a wedding magazine had hired me with a makeup artist who I was like working with at the time. She moved to LA though, and she was working with Sicily, Paris, which if you guys don't know, Sicily, I think they are like the original people who found like L'Oreal before L'Oreal became L'Oreal. I could also be talking out of my ass, I don't quite remember. Anyways, so I worked with Sicily, Paris in a magazine feature for like a local wedding magazine. That was really cool. I've done a bunch of like paid high fashion editorials, fully clothed again, which have all been really cool. Some of the coolest ones were actually for Saks when we had a Saks, but luckily that place closed because if you want to know more about the backstory and history of Saks in Waikiki, y'all can do your own research on that. But it was quite messed up. But I did end up shooting for them. Gotta get my bag somehow. So Saks, I shot for Christian Louboutin. That was really cool. Here at home, okay, this is all like in Hawaii. Oliver Peoples, Shinola, the watches. So yeah, like international tech companies have come here to do like campaigns, internal usage work, which I've gotten hired for. So really fun, cool work does get cycled through here. And again, when it's meant for me, it's meant for me. The people that put on like the Saks shoot, the Louboutin, Oliver Peoples, Shinola, like that was all like a local team too. So like sometimes the locals really pop off, like with the creative projects that we put together. Okay. So yeah, like it was like there's always like some cool stuff cycling through. Even now, like with my agent, I just got like a Dior casting with my local agent. So really fun. Yeah, so like even now, like to this day, like I still like heavily rely on social media like as a means of like connecting and creating an image for myself. And when I entered the industry, it was hard to get the answers I wanted when it came to modeling with agencies. And answer I wanted. They were telling me I can't talk. I was being told what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. So no hate to the agencies that were just telling me, girl, you're 15. Stop telling me that you want to be a Victoria's Secret model. Yeah. So as soon as I could, like, safely, like around, I want to say like 16, I was like test shooting every week. Setting up those things too, like with friends, with like students, with like photographers that I could find through social media. I was test shooting. I was being resourceful, okay? And I think what did I write here? Yeah, okay, so when I left high school, because I left high school, obviously I got my freaking diploma, okay, relax. But I left high school early so that I could pursue modeling. And I ended up going to LA a few years later, but I ended up going to LA and staying with family and going to open calls in LA, and I met with like a bunch of agents, and back then, like, they told me some ridiculous stuff. Like, one of them told me straight up, they're like, you should give up on modeling, straight up, like, we think you should give up. And I was like, why did you schedule a meeting with me? And then, yeah, I would like test shoot while I was in LA. So that was like my first like city outside of Hawaii. And I loved LA. I love LA. I got a pretty decent amount of work while just trying to like get my feet wet without an agency in LA. And from LA, I got signed with my first agency in New York, which was Genetics Model Management with Nick Perio. Great guy. So yeah, upon an intense development period in New York and moving to Brooklyn, I got signed with another agency in New York that used to be called Onyx. Now she's at New Icon. Her name is Lindsay. And with my current booker in Hawaii and another agency in Singapore. Anyways, I'm gonna talk more about New York and LA and other cities that I've worked in later. That was Hawaii. And Hawaii's a doozy. But thank you for watching. This is